AITA for hiding my $22 million and letting my sister lose her mind at dinner? I, Mason, 29, male. I was 12 when I realized my parents kept two versions of family history. One where I existed and another where I did not matter. My sister Vanessa was 4 years older than me, and she made sure everyone knew she was the star. Concert pianist at 10, debate team captain, straight, as if it were coded in her DNA. And the thing is, she really had talent. In high school, her architectural drawings showed real vision, a spatial intelligence that would later make Northwestern professors say she was exceptional for her generation. Our parents adored her as if they prayed at her altar every day. In my room, they walked past it like I was a stranger renting a room in their house. Denver suburbs in the late 2000s. From the street, the house looked perfect. A 2-story colonial, spotless lawn, the complete American dream package. Inside, it was a different story. Vanessa's room was a museum of trophies, ribbons, medals, and certificates glued to every wall. Mom dusted them every week as if maintaining a shrine. My room had sports equipment I bought with money earned doing yard work for neighbors, and a computer I built myself with salvage parts. The financial picture said it all. Vanessa got brand new designer clothes every season. Entire Saturdays spent shopping with Mom. I got hand-me-downs from the neighbor's son who was 3 years younger than me. My baseball team made it to the regional semifinals. Dad said he would try to drop by if his sales meeting finished early. We won in extra innings. I pitched a solid inning and also hit the winning run. After the game, I scanned the bleachers. Nobody was there, just Coach Thompson and his wife. I called home. Vanessa answered. Dad's meeting ran late. Mom went with him. Good job, I guess. She did not even ask the score. Birthdays were the clearest indicator for Vanessa. Themed party, caterer, professional decorations, 30 kids, 6 weeks of prep. For me, a supermarket cake and dinner at home. One year, they forgot my birthday for 3 days. The pattern was the same for everything that mattered. School events, achievements, simple acknowledgement of my existence. Vanessa had the spotlight. I had the crumbs. I was sick of auditioning for an audience that would never applaud. They wanted to pretend I was invisible. Fine. I was going to build something so big they could not ignore it, even if they tried. And the difference was, I was not going to tell them about it until it was too late for them to take the credit. They would find out when everyone else found out, when it was already all over. College was supposed to be freedom. Instead, it was one more reminder that Vanessa's shadow stretched everywhere. Senior year, at the kitchen table, we were looking at financial aid applications. Mom pushed the papers toward me. Most of the college fund money went to Vanessa's tuition. Northwestern is not cheap, and besides, she planned to go to grad school afterward. I asked, and how much is left for me? She shuffled the papers. Around $6,000. Vanessa's education was going to cost nearly $400,000 over 7 years. I had $6,000. Arizona State offered me a partial scholarship. I accepted. I worked 25 hours a week at the campus IT support center, fixing broken laptops for students who could not figure out their email. My dorm room smelled of stale pizza and regret. The walls were thin enough to hear all my roommates' League of Legends games at 2 a.m., but it was my place. Freshman year, during orientation, I met a professor, an older guy who had worked at Oracle before teaching. He caught me rebuilding another student's laptop in the library common area. He told me, "You understand system architecture? Most kids your age just know how to scroll through apps." He offered me a spot in his advanced development seminar. 8 students, real-world focus, building actual products. That class changed my trajectory. Sophomore year, I created an inventory management system for small construction contractors. Nothing fancy, just software to track materials, equipment, and job site costs. Without those expensive platforms that cost $500 a month. I charged $75 for setup and $25 a month. I had 4 clients before winter break. Real money, not life-changing, but proof that the idea worked. My parents called maybe 3 times that semester, always to talk about Vanessa, about her engagement to Gregory, a finance guy from Connecticut. Old money. Wedding planning took up all the space in our conversations. Did you hear about Vanessa's ring? For carats. Gregory's family has an estate in the Hamptons. I said, great. Mom, are you even listening to me? She replied, yes. For carats. Very impressive. and she sighed like I was the problem. Junior year, I expanded my construction software into full management, project organization, scheduling, payroll integration, and client billing. Big companies wanted $60,000 a year. I offered equivalent functionality for $3,000. I signed 14 clients before the spring semester. Revenue hit $42,000. I quit my IT support job. One of my professors introduced me to an alumni who ran an investment fund in Phoenix. He told me over coffee in some upscale spot he chose, "You have good instincts. You solve real problems for real businesses. Most kids try to create the next big social app. You build tools that actually make money." He did not invest too early, but he gave me advice that mattered. Pivot to supply chain security. Construction was getting hit hard by material issues and equipment problems. Large corporations had logistics teams and insurance. Small contractors had nothing. That is where the idea for TrackCore started to take shape. Senior year, I had to choose. Microsoft wanted me to move to Seattle for $85,000 a year. Amazon had a spot in AWS for $90,000. Both with stock, benefits, the whole package. Or I could take my software, rebuild it for logistics security, and go all in solo. I brought it up during Christmas break. Big mistake. You are turning down Microsoft? Dad looked at me like I announced I was joining a cult. That is a guaranteed 6 figures in 5 years. Starting a business is risky. Over 70% of startups fail. Vanessa added, surrounded by fabric swatches and flower catalogs for her wedding. You are throwing away your future? Mom put her hand on mine. Not everyone has the entrepreneurial instinct, sweetie. There is no shame in having a stable job. The unspoken part, not everyone can be exceptional like Vanessa. That was fine with me. I had stopped waiting for their validation a long time ago, ever since the day I realized they would never give it to me. For months after my graduation, while my entire family thought only of Vanessa's wedding, I moved to Phoenix with $14,000 in savings and a working prototype of TrackCore. I rented a studio in a rough neighborhood of Tempe. The building had its share of issues, and the air conditioning sounded like it was going to fail every night around 3 a.m. But it was my place, and I was building something they would never understand. The first 18 months almost broke me mentally, not financially. TrackCore's pitch was simple: real-time tracking and security for construction materials and equipment. Small contractors lost hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to problems like theft and fraud. Insurance barely covered it. I wanted to create a system that stopped the loss before it happened. The technology was solid. Sales were hell. 6 months cold calling companies, maybe 400 rejections. We do not need tracking. Too expensive. Call back when you have references. Except I could not get references without clients, and no clients without references. My team built up slowly. A logistics specialist who had worked 15 years in distribution. Jessica, a front-end developer who understood user experience. Marcus, an operations manager who could stretch a dollar further than logic allowed. Then came a challenging situation with one of our first clients. The individual appeared legitimate with strong references from multiple job sites. We installed our tracking system across his entire operation in May. Over the summer, discrepancies appeared. Equipment went missing right before our sensors registered movement. Materials vanished during brief windows where our coverage was weaker. We finally figured it out. The client had studied our tracking patterns and identified temporary gaps related to sensor refresh rates. We had a 45-second window during system updates, and the issues aligned exactly with those intervals. Over a concentrated 6-week period between late June and early August, this led to losses of $200,000 in equipment value. We caught it because a contractor noticed his high-end laser level always disappeared in the exact same 45-second window, 3 days in a row. The individual faced legal consequences, but we got sued by 3 other contractors using our system. They claimed our tracking had contributed to the issues by showing the timing gaps. They wanted damages, they wanted us shut down, they wanted accountability. The legal fees drained our cash flow. For months, sleeping on an air mattress in the garage, showering at a 24-hour gym, living off protein bars and gas station coffee. My team maxed out their credit cards to keep the servers online. One bad week and we would close. My parents called once during that time. Vanessa is pregnant. We are going to be grandparents. Congratulations. They are buying a house in Connecticut. 6 bedrooms. We are helping them with the down payment. Vanessa deserves something nice with the baby coming. Meanwhile, I was sleeping in a garage fighting a lawsuit that could destroy everything. But sure, Vanessa deserved help. The turning point came from the lawsuit itself. The lawyer for one of the contractors examined our entire system during the proceedings. She called me directly. Your tracking software did not enable this situation. Your client used it to find loopholes, but the core architecture is specifically designed to prevent exactly what happened. The problem came from user authentication protocols, and your new version already fixed that. She testified that our system was actually more secure than industry standards. The case we built proved it. Our tracking logged everything and provided the evidence that helped secure the outcome. We won. Word spread fast in the construction industry. Within 10 months, we had 23 contractors under contract. Revenue hit more than $1 million. We moved into offices near Scottsdale. We hired 20 people, then 50. By year 3, we had over 100 employees. My sister called once during this period. Mom said, "So, are you still doing your little construction software? How is that going?" "It is moving forward." "Good for you." "Listen, Gregory and I are renovating the kitchen. Mom and Dad are helping, but we are a little short. Could you chip in maybe $6,000? Family helps family. I was running a 100-employee company. I slept 4 hours a night. I negotiated million-dollar contracts. Vanessa wanted $6,000 for granite countertops. I cannot. Seriously, we are family. We will talk later, Vanessa. She never once asked how my business was actually doing. By year 5, TrackCore was integrated into projects totaling around $95 million a year, with 280 employees and contracts with construction companies in 32 states. Our systems had prevented over $300 million in losses. Industry magazines wanted interviews. Conferences wanted me to give keynotes. My parents, though, thought I was doing IT support somewhere in Arizona. Buyout offers started in year 3. The first, $8 million from a mid-sized logistics company. Too low. The second in year 4, $14 million. Closer, but still below actual value. In year 5, an industrial giant showed up. A massive supply chain conglomerate. The kind that does not even need advertising because everyone already knows them. They wanted our tech, our clients, our team. They wanted to integrate our systems into all their North American operations. The offer was $22 million. Low on paper, but huge for what they needed. Our tech had a legal precedent protecting us from similar claims, and they were facing several massive lawsuits over logistics issues that our system could prevent. I gathered the team. We survived the garage, the lawsuit, the 100-hour weeks. "This is generational wealth," I said. "But you built this with me. It is your decision too." The logistics specialist spoke first. "I am 44. I have been in logistics since I was 22. This is the first thing I have built that I am truly proud of. At $22 million, my kids go to college debt-free. I can pay off my parents' mortgage." Jessica nodded. "Same. With this money, my partner and I can finally start a family without financial stress." Marcus smiled. "I am in. But we negotiate better terms for the whole team. The ones who built this need to walk away with something real." We negotiated for 8 weeks. Final deal. A $22 million buyout plus retention bonuses for all employees, integration into the conglomerate's supply chain division, and equity for some. Everyone who had been with us for more than 18 months walked away with at least 6 figures, some 7. The day the sale was finalized, my net worth was around $16 million after taxes and payouts, at 27 years old. That night, I sat in my apartment, a simple 1-bedroom in Scottsdale, nothing extravagant, and stared at the buyout paperwork, thinking about calling my parents. I did not. Jessica had invited me to her partner's birthday dinner that weekend. She told me I needed to celebrate properly with people who actually cared about me. I made up an excuse, a travel issue. The truth was, I did not know how to be around people celebrating me. I had spent my whole life being invisible. Being seen suddenly made me uncomfortable. She looked hurt when I declined. 2 months later, she stopped inviting me. The truth was simpler. I had learned to be invisible so well that visibility felt like standing on a stage in borrowed clothes waiting for someone to yell imposter. So, I stayed in the shadows. I knew. They had already decided who I was in their narrative. Facts would not change the story they had been telling themselves for 30 years. So, I did not tell them anything. I invested most of the money. I set up a scholarship for overlooked kids interested in tech. I traveled to Tokyo, Barcelona, Auckland. I discovered the world I was too busy building to enjoy. My parents called every few months, always to talk about Vanessa, her new architectural project, their new Mercedes, the kids' private Montessori school, Gregory's promotion, the basement home theater renovations. I gave vague answers about work. They never asked for details. Then the Thanksgiving invitation arrived. Vanessa's email was formal, almost like a corporate memo. Gregory and I are hosting Thanksgiving this year. Mom and Dad will be here. It would be nice to have the whole family together. I almost declined. I spent 4 days drafting polite excuses, but curiosity won. Maybe I wanted to see the life they built with all that support I never had. I replied, I will be there. Vanessa answered within the hour. Great. Arrive Wednesday. The third-floor guest room is for you. Mom and Dad get the master suite. And please, dress appropriately. Gregory's parents will be attending. Even the invitation was a reminder of my place in the hierarchy. I booked a first-class flight because I could, because flying economy felt like playing a role I had outgrown. I had no idea I was about to blow up the entire family dynamic. Connecticut in late November looked like a photoshopped postcard, perfect autumn colors. Everything felt staged. Vanessa's house was in Greenwich. Of course. Old money neighborhood, massive lots, houses that cost more than what most people make in a lifetime. Their house was a modern colonial, circular driveway, professional landscaping, probably an HOA that even polices the mailboxes. Vanessa opened the door, dressed in designer labels from head to toe. A quick hug, more of a performance than affection. You made it. Everyone is in the great room. She looked at my shirt. The guest rooms. Third floor, dinner at 6 p.m. Sharp. Not a request, an order. The great room looked staged for a magazine. Mom and Dad on a huge sofa. Gregory by the fireplace with 2 older people, clearly his parents. Same energy, money that does not need to justify itself. There he is. Mom stood up, hugged me, and immediately started adjusting my jacket. You have lost weight. Are you eating right? Dad gave me his usual handshake. Firm. Good to see you, son. Gregory came over with his executive handshake. Glad you could make it. Meet my parents. His mother offered me a limp hand. So you are the brother from Arizona. What do you do out there? Before I could answer, Vanessa cut in. He works with computers. Software development or something like that. No. Something like that, I said. Gregory's dad, tall, sharp gaze, the kind of man who built something before inheriting the rest, watched me for a second. Development in what sector? Logistics security. Construction logistics. His expression shifted slightly. Interest, maybe recognition. Interesting niche, highly specialized. We will talk. Then he turned away, but I caught him looking at me twice more until Vanessa diverted the attention. Mom sat down. Vanessa told us you were staying at the hotel in town. That is convenient. I blinked. I thought I was sleeping in the guest room. Oh, sweetie, it is Gregory's office right now, Mom said. There are documents everywhere. We did not want you to be uncomfortable. The hotel is very nice this time of year. Dad added, we are helping Vanessa with the kitchen renovation. As if that explained everything. But we just financed countertops made of imported Italian marble. $23,000 just for materials. Vanessa smiled. The house is an investment, you know? They had refinanced again to pay for her countertops, and I had to go to a hotel. Okay. Actually, I said slowly. The email said the third-floor room was for me. Vanessa waved her hand. Plans changed. The hotel is better. You will have privacy, room service, more your style. Translation, we do not want you sleeping at our house. The important thing is that we are together for the holidays, Mom said firmly. Subject closed. Over the next hour, Vanessa slipped weird questions into the conversation. Played off as casual, too casual. What was the street we lived on in Denver again? The one with the weird name? Quentin. Right, that is it. And the dog we had, the Qley. We never had a Qley. Oh right, my memory is slipping. What was the name of your first pet? I completely forgot. Red alert. Why do you want to know? Just reminiscing. Except Mom and Dad were not talking about this. They were watching TV. Then 20 minutes later. Did you have a savings account at the credit union in high school? No. What was the name again? Why do you need this? Just curious. I am opening accounts for the twins. Wanted to see what bank we used. Another red flag, but I let it go. Then, the guests started arriving for pre-Thanksgiving drinks. Architecture colleagues, Gregory's brother and his wife, neighbors. The house filled with polite, well-dressed people playing the part. Vanessa found me near the kitchen and lowered her voice. Soft smile, ready for the audience. A colleague of Gregory's just arrived, the one who decides his partner track. I need you to be strategic tonight. When you meet people, avoid talking directly about the software. Say instead that you are exploring opportunities. It sounds better. I looked at her. You want me to lie about my job? Not lie. Reframe it. Gregory is being evaluated. First impressions matter. So I was supposed to pretend to be unemployed so he would look better by comparison. Her smile hardened. I am just asking you to be considerate for one evening. Is that too much to ask? I said yes. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in slightly. Fine, but the Wi-Fi is glitching in the living room. Since you work with computers, you could at least be useful and fix it. She said it loud enough for people nearby to hear. Some chuckled. The tech guy can handle it, joked one of Gregory's colleagues. Mom walked up. Oh yes, he is excellent with computers. He can take a look. She smiled like it was completely normal to parade her son in front of guests to fix the Wi-Fi. I do not do IT support, I said dryly. Vanessa's jaw clenched. Wow. So you refuse to introduce yourself properly? You refuse to help with the Wi-Fi. What exactly are you bringing tonight? The room froze. Everyone pretended not to look, but everyone was looking. Dad laughed. He actually laughed. Come on, son, it is just a router. Takes 5 minutes. I do not do tech support at a family dinner. It is not tech support, Vanessa said, her voice dripping with contempt. It is helping family, but apparently, that is too much to ask of you. She walked away. The conversation resumed, and I stood there, realizing they had just publicly assigned me the role of the servant and expected me to smile. I went up to the 3rd floor. Gregory's office was just 3 cardboard boxes in a corner. The room was perfectly habitable. They had lied to make my place perfectly clear. My phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. By the way, I forgot to ask for the last 4 digits of your SSN. Need it for something. I did not reply. Another text. And Mom was wondering about the license plate of your first car for sentimental reasons. I blocked Vanessa. For the night. The pre-Thanksgiving dinner was served, catered of course. Conversations revolved solely around Vanessa's universe, her firm's latest project, the Gifted Children's Program, their summer house on Martha's Vineyard, Gregory's firm's internal politics. Later, going up to the 3rd floor room, I heard voices coming from the master suite. Vanessa was talking to Gregory. I slowed down, making no noise. I cannot believe he is being so difficult over such simple requests, Vanessa was saying. The extra only has one role this weekend. Stay in the background. The extra is your brother, Gregory replied calmly. I know. Mom and Dad know it. They know his place in this family. I kept walking up. I sat in the room they claimed was unavailable and stared at the ceiling. The next day was Thanksgiving. Vanessa had been planning this dinner for weeks. Caterer, seating chart, photographer, the whole production. She had texted me 5 times about punctuality and appropriate attire. I had no idea that very night. Her perfect dinner was going to fall apart, and I would finally say everything I had swallowed for 27 years. Thanksgiving morning felt like a military operation. Vanessa was everywhere, directing caterers, adjusting flowers, checking place cards with the intensity of a general preparing an invasion. The dining room looked straight out of Architectural Digest. Hand-calligraphed names, several crystal glasses per setting, floral centerpieces that surely cost more than my first month's rent in Tempe. Watch the twins, Vanessa ordered. Not asked, ordered. Just stay out of the way. So, I hung out with Lily and Jacob. 7 years old. We built Lego towers. They showed me their tablets. Good kids, surprisingly real compared to the theater playing out downstairs. Uncle Mason, do you still do computers? Asked Jacob. Sort of. I build software that helps companies track their gear. Lily looked up from her Legos. Mommy says you are not very successful because you still work. She says successful people make other people work. I stayed neutral. People do not all define success the same way. What does that mean? It means your mom and I do not see things the same way. And that is okay. By noon, the house was full. Gregory's brother and his wife, architecture colleagues, elderly relatives. Vanessa's photographer friend was snapping shots for the memories. Professional photos, of course. Vanessa announced, family first. Everyone in the great room. She positioned everyone with surgical precision. Mom and Dad in the center. Vanessa and Gregory beside them. The kids in front. Me, shoved to the edge, half hidden behind Gregory's brother. Perfect, Vanessa declared. The photographer hesitated. Maybe no. The composition works like this. Trust me. I stood literally on the margin of my own family's photo and thought about the irony. In Vanessa's world, this placement made sense. I was optional, replaceable, the one you could crop out if the frame got too tight. Around 3 p.m., we sat down to eat, by order of importance. Vanessa and Gregory at the ends. The parents in the seats of honor next to them. Me stuck between Gregory's hard-of-hearing grandmother and an architecture colleague who had clearly skipped breakfast. Gregory stood up to give a toast full of gratitude and blessings. Then the family tradition. Everyone says what they are thankful for. Vanessa started, obviously. She talked about her booming firm, her appointment to the regional zoning board, the kids getting into the gifted program, and of course, their property on Martha's Vineyard where they were making wonderful family memories. My parents smiled like she had just solved world hunger. Mom's turn. I am thankful for Vanessa and her beautiful family, and of course for my 2 kids. The 2 kids tagged on at the end. Classic. The ritual continued. Generic thanks, polite applause, until me. I am thankful for having built something from nothing, for learning that validation from others is not required, and for having the freedom to define success on my own terms. Vanessa smiled, tight-lipped. Very philosophical. How sweet. She waved to the caterers. The food started going around. Turkey, sides, sparkling cider. Everything was perfect, because Vanessa never did anything halfway. The conversation stayed in safe territory. Professional gossip, private school comparisons, real estate values. The adults talked. I mostly observed, occasionally answering questions from Gregory's grandmother, who kept calling me Vanessa's brother. Then Vanessa shifted her tone. Bright smile, too bright. Since we are all together. She looked at me. Gregory and I are expanding the Martha's Vineyard house. We are asking for a family contribution. Mom and Dad have already pledged $20,000. We thought you could chip in $60,000. The room went silent. No. Her smile tightened. It is a family investment. Still no. $60,000 is nothing for someone working in tech. Her voice hardened. Unless you are exaggerating your situation. Given the way you talk about your business, I am starting to think it is not as successful as you claim. The temperature dropped. Excuse me? You have always embellished things. You make yourself out to be more important than you are. I think you work a basic IT job and call it entrepreneurship. Maybe you are even struggling and too ashamed to admit it. Gregory tried to intervene. No, I am serious, Vanessa said. Nobody builds something real and hides it from their family unless there is nothing to hide. Stop making a scene and tell us the truth, Mom sighed. We are your family, Dad added. If you are having a hard time, we can help. Everyone stared at me. And what company did you say you founded? Gregory's father cut in sharply. TrackCore. He froze. Supply chain security. Yes. The ghost tracking protocol, the one that runs during sensor refreshes. Explain. It was a test. I explained the 45-second loophole during updates and the invisible parallel layer that kept logging. He slowly put down his fork. That protocol saved my company from a $3 million fraud. I was there during the vendor assessment. He studied me, then paused. Wait, Industry Tech bought that system a few years ago. Another pause. For $22 million. He looked at Vanessa. Your brother built that. His architecture is the reason my company's supply chain is secure. And you just accused him of lying. Silence fell. Vanessa's face went white. 22 what? Million? Yes, I said calmly. She gripped the table. That is not possible. You would have. We would have. You never. Why did you hide this from us? Dad's voice broke. Because you decided who I was 30 years ago. Nothing I built would have changed that story. Vanessa was breathing heavily. This is nonsense. You mean you had millions while Mom and Dad were helping us with? She stopped. The down payment, the renovations, Gregory's firm. Yes. But you did not say anything. Why would I? You made my place clear. I accepted it. I stood up. I am leaving. Wait, Mom started. Do not contact me again. I walked out. The Uber driver asked no questions. I checked into a different hotel on the other side of town. I turned off my phone and slept. The next morning, I had 17 missed calls and 43 messages. I opened the family group chat. Vanessa had spent the night posting screenshots, random tech company LinkedIn pages, articles about startup failures. Vanessa, 12:47 a.m. There is no public record showing he is the founder of TrackCore. It could be made up. Mom, 1:45 a.m. Just tell us the truth. We will not be mad if you exaggerated a little. Vanessa, 3:03 a.m. I think he is having a breakdown. The isolation, the delusions. Maybe we should consider an intervention. I opened my photos, found the official buyout press release, my name, the terms, $22 million, black and white. I posted it in the group without comment. I muted notifications and went back to sleep. At 7:12 a.m., the hotel phone rang. The front desk, cautious voice. A woman was downstairs claiming to be my sister. She said there was a family emergency, that I was not in a good mental state, and that she needed a key because I was not answering. She also said I was lying about my finances, and she was afraid I would do something dangerous. Vanessa, in full audition mode for her own drama. I told the front desk clearly, do not give anyone access to my room. I requested my reservation be marked as no visitors, no exceptions, and to take down the name of the person making the request. Then I asked for hotel security. Security answered. Calm and firm. He told me she was insisting, saying she had the right to see me because we were family. I told him family does not come with a master key. I asked him to log the incident and keep her away from my floor. I hung up and started taking screenshots. The family chat, the timestamps, the message talking about interventions, everything. 10 minutes later, a knock on the door. 2 cops. Wellness check. Vanessa had actually called the police. I opened the door, stood in the doorway, and spoke calmly. I said I was fine, that I was not a danger to myself, and that this was a family conflict disguised as concern. I showed them the texts where she called me delusional and talked about interventions. I asked for the incident number. If she wanted to weaponize the system, I wanted an official record. They left. I went down to grab a coffee and saw Vanessa through the lobby glass. She was pacing like she was waiting for the police to announce her victory. She saw me and headed for the entrance. I turned around and went back up. No talking, no extra scene. Through the glass, I saw her pull out her phone, gesturing, probably calling Mom, probably inventing a new version of my breakdown. Let her. Every lie became one more line in my file. Back in my room, I had security alerts via email, password reset attempts, unrecognized logins. They failed, but it was enough to prove someone was trying to get in. My phone was vibrating from the family group. I ignored it. I called the front desk back and asked them to save all the CCTV footage from the lobby and elevators. Not to be dramatic, but because people love to lie when there is no video. I asked for written confirmation, dated, sent by email. The manager hesitated, then agreed. I also asked for a copy of the incident log showing the attempt to get a room key. If Vanessa wanted to play the concerned sister, I wanted the receipt. I messaged my lawyer. Be ready. Wellness check plus attempt to access my room. I am gathering evidence. He replied, do not delete anything. Do not engage. Perfect. I had been practicing not engaging for years. She wanted a scene. I wanted a case number. Thanksgiving was not an argument. It was the moment they switched from guilt to tactics. At 9 a.m., my lawyer called. We need a cease and desist today. Evidence freeze. Preservation of all communications. Sent within 48 hours. I explained. He said, this is your family? I replied exactly. That is what makes it worse. At noon, I got bank alerts. Someone had tried to access my accounts. Multiple attempts. Checking, savings, brokerage, the company. They had used my mother's maiden name, my childhood address, the name of my first pet. All the innocent questions from the night before. Not innocent. Two-factor authentication blocked access, but the intent was clear. I called my lawyer back. Add attempted unauthorized account access. I have the alerts. Someone used information only my family knows. He swore. That is federal fraud. I know. Mentioned that I am documenting everything and considering an FBI report. At 3 p.m., the cease and desist was ready. Clear legal language. Stop talking about me. Stop all attempts to access my accounts. Preserve all communications. Probable legal action. Sent to all three. My parents and Vanessa. Gregory CC'd, out of courtesy. I also sent my own letter. 10 pages. Every forgotten birthday, every missed game. Every time they chose Vanessa. The financial gap. $847,000 for her over 15 years, including $400,000 for her education, multiple real estate down payments, renovations, business capital, versus $6,000 for me. The Thanksgiving humiliation, the public lies, the attempted access. You had 30 years to build a relationship with me. You chose not to. I respect that choice by permanently withdrawing. Do not contact me again. All communication will go through my lawyer, billing $500 an hour. My phone started vibrating immediately. Unknown numbers. I blocked them all. Then a voicemail from Mom, her voice trembling. Please, call me. Tell me what you want. Anything. A text from Dad. Stop. Please, we will do anything. I deleted both without replying. They had 30 years to ask me what I wanted. Now, they were only asking because I was no longer convenient to ignore. That night, I blocked all their numbers, changed all my emergency contacts, froze my credit, and changed all my passwords to encrypted keys. 2 days later, Vanessa's lawyer contacted mine. She was dropping all legal action and wanted a mutual non-disparagement agreement. No, I said. She gets nothing. If she talks about me again, publicly or privately, I release all the documents showing how my parents bankrupted themselves to fund her lifestyle. My lawyer paused. Are you sure? Completely. Vanessa sent a notarized apology letter. For paragraphs acknowledging she had lied, confirming the success of my business, apologizing for questioning my mental health. It was not sincere, but it was documented. I hired a forensic accountant. The report came back. $847,000 for Vanessa over 15 years. Northwestern tuition, wedding, real estate down payments, renovations, business capital. My parents were $200,000 underwater on their house, retirement emptied, living on Social Security. My college fund, $6,000. I filed it all away. I did not publish anything. I just kept it ready. 3 weeks later, the fallout hit. Gregory's firm was finalizing his partnership review when a background check flagged the family conflict, the police intervention, the unauthorized access attempts. Gregory had to explain why his wife made a false report about her brother's mental health while trying to access his bank accounts. He withdrew his candidacy for partner. Vanessa tried to smear me to the extended family. The messages were forwarded directly to my lawyer. My parents tried to refinance their house again. The bank refused. Too much history, too high risk. They had to downsize their lifestyle. Vanessa's firm lost a massive commercial contract after a standard legal background check. The cease and desist and the police report showed up in public records. The client wanted architects without active family litigation tied to fraud accusations. The project went to a competitor. Other collaborations vanished. Her reputation, which she protected more than her family, cracked. I did not have to trigger anything. I just stayed silent, documented everything, and let their panic do the rest. My lawyer sent one final letter. My client holds comprehensive documentation regarding financial issues, attempted identity theft, and false police reports. These materials will remain confidential as long as all parties maintain absolute silence. Any violation will result in immediate forwarding to the authorities and relevant professional boards. After that, nothing. No calls, no texts, no apologies. I walked away for good. I built something real while they were building a story, and my story did not need them anymore. Comment. Hey, everyone, this story really stayed with me. I believe we all have to learn that our worth isn't decided by how our family sees us. It's important to set clear boundaries when people keep putting you down. Sometimes, choosing your peace is the most powerful decision you can make. Healing begins when we stop waiting for others to finally recognize our value. Take responsibility for your own life and build something that makes you proud. Be kind to others, but never at the expense of your self-respect. You deserve relationships that lift you up instead of tearing you down. Take some time to think about where you might need stronger boundaries in your own life. I'm always here rooting for you as you choose yourself and create the peace you deserve. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.